Chiropractic Clinic. Today I am very privileged to have an amazing guest in the clinic with me. This is James Cook-Coulson. James is a very dear friend of mine, and his knowledge on health, autoimmune disease, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's is incredible. This is a problem that is prolific out there, and I know that Crohn's and ulcerative colitis are an extreme version of digestive issues, and none of us want to get there. Unfortunately, James has had the experience of actually having Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. He'll explain his story in a bit more detail in a moment, but he's found a solution that absolutely works. And what I want to do is give James the opportunity to explain a little more about sort of his story and also about this amazing product that we will be stocking in the clinic and making available to you, because I absolutely believe in it, and I think it's it's something that all of us should be considering taking. So James, over to you.
Right, yeah, so a little bit about myself. I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease when I was 21. It started off before that as just a bit of a gluten intolerance, and I thought I had IBS, and then I had to start cutting out certain foods. It wasn't until I stopped smoking a few months previously that I started passing blood, and I was already having diarrhea. I had diarrhea for about 3 years, and the doctors kept giving me antibiotics, and they wouldn't work, and then I wouldn't go back. Went back, more antibiotics, but yeah, once I started passing blood, I didn't really think much of it at the time, and it wasn't until I met someone who had bowel cancer. I asked him what the symptoms was, and he said, oh, I was passing blood. I was like, oh, I do that every day. So that's when I went home, and my girlfriend went on Google, and she was like, I think you got Crohn's disease. So, cancer. So that's when I booked an appointment with my doctor. I was like, look, I'm passing blood, I have been for months. I was like, you tell me I don't have cancer. And that's when he started really moving then, and booked me in for a colonoscopy, which is the camera up your anus, which is not pleasant, and one of the reasons why I do what I do to try help people not get that. So a little bit about my journey. When I had ulcerative colitis, and it was basically diarrhea all the time, uncontrollable. I was having 25 to 30 bowel movements a day. My breath really smelled, my sweat really smelled, and I was trying all these different therapies, like EFT tapping, I was doing craniosacral, I was doing all these different cleanses, like oregano oil and stuff, and all these cleanses that I was doing, like Demetrius earth and like the clay for the parasites. Everything seemed to make my digestion worse. I tried all the different diets, like I actually went on a raw milk diet for 1.5 years. Just to avoid the surgeries, because I tried healing it naturally for the first year. Then at the age of 22, I got rushed into hospital, and I was in there for a few weeks, and that was where they said they wanted to cut all my large intestine and as much as my small intestine as I saw fit, and give me a bag. And that was my best option, and obviously immunosuppressants and steroids. And they said if I didn't do that, it'd be the same as what the people was doing in the 60s when they didn't have the treatment, and they said I had a 50% chance of dying in the next year. So I thanked him for his time, and thanked him for scaring my mother, and that's when I went on to the raw milk diet. I did everything, and fortunately I'm a bit stubborn, so I was always reading books and trying to figure it out. I managed to go to Australia to visit my sister, and I managed to get introduced to somebody that introduced me to this, Quen's Ultimate Fibre. When I first saw it, I said, nice one mate, I don't want your cure-alls, I just want your nutritional advice. And because he was a friend of a friend, and the person who made this was a friend of his, he gave me his personal number, the manufacturer's personal number. And that's when I called him up and explained what I was doing. He laughed down the phone at me, he said, the science of everything you're doing makes sense, but you're doing it all wrong. You need to cleanse your intestines, you need to remove the parasites, the heavy metals, the candida, the fungal overgrowths. You need to use these herbs to rebuild the intestinal lining, heal and seal that leaky gut, and start eating nutritious foods again. And I was like, I haven't been able to eat vegetables in 4 years, like I won't be able to. And he said, this will allow you to. So me trying to prove him wrong, had like sweet potato, broccoli, sea bass, black pepper, everything that I hadn't been able to eat in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And normally that would go through me in 10 minutes and just come out covered in blood and mucus, because all my bowel movements were just blood and mucus and undigested food. And I went from a transit time of 15 minutes to 6 hours just on day one.
Day one, wow.
Yeah, and so the sense of calm that come over my body just from consuming it in the first time, like I felt normal for the first time in like 4.5 years, and which I just can't explain. And if somebody's suffering with digestive issues or autoimmune conditions or even mental issues, which is directly related to your digestive health, the anti-inflammatory herbs in here just calm your body down and make you feel normal, but then it's also dealing with the causes of the root causes. So
yeah, absolutely. So before we go into sort of exactly what's in the product wise, what's in there, just let's go through a little bit of science here, okay? So you mentioned a couple of things that I want you to just expand on a little bit. You mentioned about something called leaky gut. Now you and I both know sort of what a problem that is, and how many people out there actually have it as a condition without realizing it. So if you wouldn't mind just explaining a little bit about leaky gut, and also then I want you to go through sort of a little bit of an explanation about how sort of the gut is important in the sense of sort of serotonin, and you mentioned the mind link as well. Just go through a little bit on that so people understand sort of the science behind that a little bit.
yeah, sure, I'll use my hands, so I'll put this down.
Yeah.
So your intestinal lining, your whole digestive tract is just a tube like that. On the inside of the tube, you've got your food and your feces on the inside, then you've got your intestinal lining, which is only 1 cell thick, which is like half the width of a human hair. And then at the other side of that intestinal lining is like up to 70% of your immune system and your blood. So that intestinal lining has a very important job. It should only let through digested foods and nutrients, and then not let through toxins, feces, or undigested foods.
Yeah.
So all these cells, there's like billions of cells in your intestines, and they should all be tight junctions together like that. And when you get too much toxicities in the body, and then which causes inflammation, you actually get gaps in these tight cells. So instead of them just regulating what goes in and out, they can just let anything through. Then you get undigested foods, particles, waste and toxins into the blood. When these undigested foods go into the blood, we'll say gluten for example, because it's a very common allergy nowadays because it's in most of the foods that we eat. When that undigested bit of gluten goes into the blood, the immune system perceives it as an intruder, and then it creates inflammation to protect the body from this intruder. So that's why inflammation can show in different areas of the body. And it's not the fact that the body's attacking itself, it's the fact that you've got that inflammation in the intestinal lining, and the intestinal lining is not regulating what goes in and out correctly. So I think that's a very important point. You mentioned about the mental health side of it as well.
Yes.
For the same way you can get inflammation in your blood when you've got that compromised intestinal lining, when you've got a leaky gut, you basically got a leaky brain. Inflammation in the gut, obviously your blood goes all the way around your body in 2 to 3 seconds, you get inflammation in your brain. So that's the link between mental health and digestive health. A byproduct of me helping people with their gut health, they manage to get off their anxiety medications and their depression medications, their antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications, specifically after that.
Fantastic. Excellent. So to tight junctions in the intestinal wall is so important, and many of us, without even realizing it, have got sort of a symptom of leaky gut. So the more that we can sort of improve that, the better for just our general health as well. So just go through some of the products in there sort of that help the body to be able to handle things like that.
Yeah, sure. So I said the inflammation in the intestines comes from too much toxicities in the body. These toxicities can be like parasites, heavy metals, candida, fungal overgrowths, and even bacterial overgrowths building up in the body and accumulating in the body to create that inflammation. This product specifically to remove those things, it's got anti-parasitics in there like black walnut hulls, wormwood and clove. They're very strong antiparasitics, and they'd normally be a bit too hard on someone's digestive system. But 21 of the 30 herbs in there have anti-inflammatory properties, which brings that sense of calm and obviously allows these antiparasitics to not negatively affect the body. You've got bitter herbs like turmeric, dandelion root, and other herbs to cleanse the liver and the kidneys and the gallbladder. These bitter herbs help flush stuff out. You've got licorice root, slippery elm, marshmallow root. They're like the three best super herbs for healing and sealing the gut lining.
Fantastic.
And regulating that leaky gut, which helps regulate the immune system.
No, fantastic. And also what's really impressed me was what you said about the fact that the manufacturer, sort of gentleman in Australia, he sort of actually sources them from really good sources. You randomly test them as well for just any kind of sort of impurities in them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All the ingredients are sourced when they're fully mature and in season. And when he gets a batch, he'll always get a sample first, and he'll third party test that sample for molds, pesticide residues, heavy metals, because although all the ingredients are certified organic ingredients, that's just a level. The third party testing is like the best to ensure that there's no impurities in there. Because for people with compromised digestive systems, they don't handle impurities very well, which may be why people would be scared of trying a supplement, because they've tried ones in the past, or they may have tried these ingredients in the past, but not in this combination, and there may have been lower quality ingredients and actually making them worse.
No, I understand. Now you mentioned some sort of horrific sort of things there, things like parasites and fungus. Now, obviously, sort of as human beings, you know, we don't like to think we've got parasites and fungus inside us. But you know, would you just explain to everybody sort of how easy it is to pick these things up?
Yeah. So like parasites are just worms. Like for example, we worm my cats, we worm my dogs, we worm my children, we worm my cattle. Then we think when we get older, we don't have them. We can pick them up from many places, like when we have pets at home, or petting animals outside, handling raw fish or raw meat, eating pig, unwashed fruit and vegetables, and walking barefoot outside as well, because there's excrement and feces on the floor, so that can absorb through your skin. So even if you've cut out meat, you could, and if you're suffering autoimmune conditions or digestive problems, it's more than likely that you've got an overgrowth. I can pretty much guarantee that you'll have one, and you'll see it coming out in the toilet where it belongs. Where
it belongs, absolutely. Now, obviously, you mentioned inflammation, and we know that sort of Time magazine had a famous cover a few years ago where it was all about sort of inflammation is the cause of all problems, disease, and death. And inflammation is something that all of us carry daily. And of course, the more we can control that, get our body to control it, the better. And as you mentioned, there's an incredible number of sort of herbs in there that are specifically designed to reduce inflammation. So that's an immense benefit of the product as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. So if I was going to try this product, how would I take it? What would I expect? What would be the regime that I would follow?
Yeah, so it's everybody, I recommend a 3-month minimum cleanse and protocol. And the reason for that is like parasites, like the worms I just explained, they can lay their eggs in the tissue and they can lay dormant for 6 to 8 weeks. So you want to make sure you're cleansing for at least 8 weeks to cover the egg cycle of the parasites. In 3 months you replenish all your blood as well. So it's a good minimum to make sure you have a cleanse. The way you have it, you get a protein shaker. There's a scoop inside here. With a protein shaker, you put like 300 to 400 ml of water, 2 scoops on top, shake it up, only needs about that much shaking, and then just glug it down. You have it on an empty stomach in the morning. By having it on an empty stomach, it can reach all the areas and pockets of the intestines, it can absorb into the blood, and then once it's in the blood, like I said, it can cleanse all the body, cleanse and heal all the body.
Fantastic. And what you've also got is with each sort of batch, you provide one of these, which is just basically taking you through the protocol as well. And also you've got a barcode there which allows people to sort of go ahead. What's that allowed them to do?
On the barcode they can either contact me for a free 15-minute consultation where I explain exactly what's going on in their bodies and help them understand it to empower them, We've also got a Facebook group on there where everybody can ask all the questions to make sure they've got the support they need. It's a community of about 770 people currently.
Fantastic.
And it's just growing.
Right, so it stops, yeah? No, it's carrying on. Fantastic, carrying on. Good. So we've also got sort of a leaflet. So great Facebook community, great for people to sort of hear sort of what other people's experiences are of the products. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant.
All the reviews are on there and the testimonials, and also if you ask any questions, it's not just me answering it; it's the whole community supporting people.
Fantastic. And I believe you do some flavours as well. Is there different flavours?
Yes, there's the original, the wild berry, and the chocolate. And that's all for the ultimate fibre. And then we also have the everyday fibre as a maintenance, because some people, they feel so good when, well, everybody feels so good when they have the powder. Some people actually choose to continue that. And the thing I like about it is you don't have to really change your diet and your lifestyle to see really good results. So you haven't got to fully commit and change everything before. All you've got to do is have this on empty stomach in the morning. And yeah, it's like the 80-20 principle. You get 80% of the benefits.
So one of these tubs provides how many servings?
There's 25 servings.
25 servings, fantastic.
Yeah. And following the protocol, that'll last 16 and a half days. So a full 3-month cleanse is 6 tubs.
6 tubs, fantastic. Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much, James. I mean, I'm sort of in the process of just going through this myself at the moment, and I've got to say, sort of, I'm really looking forward to sort of coming back to you with sort of my results. My son, who's a chiropractor as well, Matthew, is also trying it as well. We absolutely believe that the products are amazing. The product itself, I think, is great, and obviously, sort of knowing James personally and hearing his story is inspirational. Because there are so many people out there who are suffering from sort of bowel disorders, and it's a massive, massive problem and increasing with the quality of the food and everything else. So James, I think you've got an incredible product here, and I am really proud to be associated with it and looking forward to sort of spreading it out there to my patients and giving them the benefits of it. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you, and thank you for your education today and for sharing your story with us. And I look forward to sort of doing some more interviews with you and just finding out more. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Sandu, Bedford Chiropractic Clinic. We're here to help. Give us a call if you want to know some more information. Hi, Dr. Sandu here from Bedford Chiropractic Clinic. Thank you so much for watching the video right to the end. I really hope you found it useful and interesting. And if you want more of them, I am going to be putting them out regularly from now on. So why don't you just subscribe down there, click on the subscribe button, click on the bell icon as well, and then you will get notified every time I release a new video. It is my absolute mission here to give as much chiropractic good information to you and also health information. So don't miss out, and give us a thumbs up if you like it.